Welcome to the second week of Advent. As we've already seen, the Israelites trapped in slavery in Egypt must have felt as though the riverbed of their tradition and their faith had run dry. They'd spent years, decades, centuries even flourishing in the land of Egypt, so much so that they must have felt as though God were blessing them, making them so numerous that they filled the entire land. And the experience of that blessing must have been a source of hope and peace, love and joy for the people of Israel. But now, everything had changed, and the people of Israel, the family of Jacob, were in need of fresh waters of new experience. I wonder how many of them must have thought that the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, the God of their forebears, the God who had made all of the promises and given them all of the blessings, had turned away from them and completely abandoned them in this time. After all, how much hope and joy and peace can you draw from the stories of your tradition when every day you are experiencing change? In such a context, it would not be hard to imagine that the Israelites just completely abandoned God and turned away from their tradition, looking for something else to try to make meaning out of the suffering that they were experiencing. For at least a few of the Israelites, the experience of struggle and pain and strife did not shake their faith or their fear of God. Perhaps they knew that it was because it's in times like this, times of darkness, times of struggle, and times of strife, that God tends to do something new. Indeed, God was about to unleash the waters of new experience that would flood the people of Israel and leave them with a memory that they would never forget. All that was required is that the faithful few remain faithful. As we read these stories in the season of Advent, I wonder, where do we draw our hope and our joy and our peace when we go through times of struggle and times of darkness and times of strife, times of pain and suffering? Where is our source of hope and peace? If we are anything like the Israelites that we will read about this week, then we see that we draw our hope and our peace and our joy from the memories that we have of what God has done before, because we know that God will act, because there's a pattern to the way that God acts, especially in relationship with us. God will do something new. So as we read through these stories this week, I encourage us all to ask, what are some of the patterns of God's activity that we've seen here at Northside Church?